Greetings everyone. Today I made a video about how Tony Stark removed the arc reactor from his chest. We'll also talk about why he didn't die in Infinity War and why he didn't seek medical attention despite this damage. You know, at the beginning of the first movie he was hit by his own missile and he had shrapnel in his chest. Of course, in cave conditions they couldn't remove the fragments, so they put an electromagnet on his chest to keep him alive for a while, otherwise the fragments would get into his organs and he would die. For years, Tony Stark never dared to remove these fragments, because the fragments were too deep and shutting down the reactor would have allowed them to continue their progress. So what happened after Iron Man 3? When Tony Stark gave his last speech, he said he had solved the Pepper problem. What he meant here was that he freed Pepper from the serum that was given to her. Technically, we don't know how he did that, but he implies that he did the same thing for himself. It was a healing serum used by people with physical disabilities. Tony had worked on a less damaging formula of this serum and had saved Pepper from it. In this case, he did the same for himself, and after removing the shrapnel, he was able to heal quickly. So the huge cavity in his chest closed on its own and he recovered quickly. Otherwise, it would have taken years for a person to get back on their feet after such an operation. Now you're gonna say, Tony Stark has found immortality. Actually, this serum doesn't make him immortal. It only allows him to repair potentially fatal damage. That's how it repaired itself without leaving a scar on Tony Stark's chest. When we look at his chest in that scene, the scar you see on his chest is actually the scar left by the reactor he was carrying because it stuck to him. So after a while that scar will disappear. It's not from the previous reactor. This confirms the theory I told you. Now let's get to the question on everyone's mind. Why didn't Tony and Pepper use this serum again? This serum used to be very aggressive and healed very quickly. The new one is not so fast. I also attribute the fact that Tony Stark did not go to the operating table after all the blows he took at the beginning of Endgame to this serum because the damage he received in this scene was very close to his deadly organs. Even if he closes the wound externally, it will continue to bleed internally. However, if the man managed to survive for days, my Iron Man 3 theory is more consistent. Now let's come to the question of why the stones killed him despite all this. It's not that people with a healing factor can use stones without taking damage. After all, the Hulk has a healing factor too. He has a healing power, even though in the comics he's slower than the Hulk in 2003. So what Stark had was weaker but functional, so it was impossible for him to survive. Even the most powerful and aggressive version of Extremis couldn't heal above a certain damage. This is additional information for you. For those who want proof, even on the Marvel Cinematic Universe website you can see that Tony Stark is among those who use the serum. Now, you get excited when you learn this kind of information, but there is no Tony Stark anymore. I wish there was someone who somehow maintained the effects of this serum. Now, some people might say, is Tony Stark really a super soldier? Not exactly, but yes, he used a modified super soldier serum. This gives him a serious advantage, both technologically and biologically. In a universe where there are already so many superhumans, it's a bit strange that someone as smart as Tony only uses technology. He always said he thought machines were safer than biology. But here's a possibility. If he got help from Bruce Banner and isolated the serum, he can count on that, because I don't want to say that Tony always learns lessons, but the man is not afraid to make mistakes in order not to learn lessons, and every mistake he makes turns into something good for him. I see all the mistakes he made in Iron Man 3 coming back to bite him over and over again. Maybe that's why he was able to withstand the power of the stones for so long. It's nice to find details like that. Well, friends, that's all from me for now. Hope to see you again in the next video. Goodbye.